I'm eating dinner and dessert. I don't have dessert very often, so I guess it just didn't naturally come to my mind. So I'm just kind of hanging out here, looking at YouTube, seeing if there's anything I should put on while I'm eating. I don't know. That'd be cool to put like a sticker on. Um. Oh, neat. Oh, Paul. Can oatmeal with black strap molasses be a dessert? Can oatmeal with black strap molasses be a dessert? It's not a lot of room. So can you see it? Oh, can I move it? Okay, I'll just do it like this, I guess. That works, right? I can move it up a little higher. Okay, neat. Oh, cool. So this is my first little poll. Okay. These vegetables grow with zero direct sunlight. Hello.
Hauling bags of soil, watering on schedule, doing everything the tag on the pot told you to do, and half those plants still died. Let me tell you something. It was never your fault. The garden center handed you a tomato plant and sent you home to a north-facing yard and never said a single word about it. They let you fail. They counted on you coming back next spring and doing it all over again. That is how they stay in business. But here is what nobody at that store ever pulled you aside to tell you. There are 9 vegetables real, edible, nutritious vegetables that do not just tolerate shade. They are actually better in it, crispier, milder, more productive. And I am going to walk you through all 9 of them today. Stick around for number 7 on this list, because if you have ever thought beets were too finicky and not worth the trouble, what I am going to tell you is going to completely change your mind. Before we get into it, I want to ask you one simple thing. Drop your US state or your USDA hardiness zone in the comments right now. Just your state, just a number, just 2 seconds of your time. I read every single one of those, and it helps me make sure this content actually applies to where you are growing. Number 1, KLE. Let us start here, because kale is probably the most misunderstood vegetable in the American backyard garden. People either love it or they have tried it once, found it bitter and tough, and never touched it again. And I will tell you exactly why that happened. The kale you bought at the store, or worse, the kale you grew yourself in full sun, was tough, because full sun does that to kale.
Ooh,
That is the reality
controversial.
nobody tells you.
Disagree.
Intense direct sunlight drives a compound called lignin deeper into the leaf tissue. Lignin is the same stuff that makes wood hard. When kale gets hammered by 6, 8, 10 hours of direct sun every day, those leaves toughen up. That is why your kale chewed like a paper bag. It was not you. It was the growing conditions, and the garden center never mentioned it because they sell you kale transplants no matter where you are planting them. Here is the truth, and I want you to sit with this for a moment. Growing kale with zero direct sunlight under a tree canopy, on a shadowed patio, on the north side of your house, reduces lignin development in the leaf tissue. The plant literally cannot build that fibrous structure without the photosynthetic energy that direct sun provides. What you get instead is tender, almost buttery kale leaves that you can eat raw without fighting them. Now I want you to be specific about what you plant, because not all kale performs equally in shade. The variety you want is red Russian kale, which is available in most seed catalogs and is suited to USDA zones 7 through 10, though it will overwinter in zone 6 with some protection. It has deeply lobed, almost oak-shaped leaves that stay exceptionally tender, and its flavor in shade is genuinely sweet with just a mild, pleasant bitterness. If you are in the northern half of the country zones 3 through 6, look for winterboard, a curly leaf type that is hardier than most and still produces beautifully impartial to full shade. Lacinato, sometimes called dinosaur kale or Tuscan kale, is another excellent performer in low light. Its narrow, dark green, bumpy leaves are naturally more tender than standard curly varieties, and in shade it becomes almost silky. It is suited to zones 7 through 9. Here is the key to getting the most out of your shade-grown kale, and this is the part that goes against everything the industry wants you to do. Stop fertilizing it heavily. I am serious. Do not dump nitrogen on shade-grown kale. When a plant is working with limited light, its energy budget is already stretched thin. Hit it with a high nitrogen fertilizer, and it will push out rapid, pale, weak growth that it cannot sustain. Use a balanced, gentle fertilizer, a 10-10-10, at half the recommended rate. Or even better, a top dressing of finished compost worked lightly into the soil surface. Feed the soil, not the plant, and let the plant do what it knows how to do. Harvest kale using the cut and come again method. Do not strip the plant. Walk out there and take the 2 or 3 outermost leaves. Leave the center alone. The plant's growth engine is that central cluster, that meristematic tissue in the crown, and every time you leave it intact, it sends up a fresh set of leaves. A single kale plant managed this way, in a shaded corner that you would otherwise do nothing with, will produce continuously for months. Stop thinking of that shady patch as a problem and start thinking of it as a productive garden space you have been ignoring. Number 2, spinach. I want to be straight with you about spinach because most people give up on it too early. They plant it in spring, get a couple of good weeks out of it, and then watch it shoot up a flower stalk and turn bitter practically overnight. That phenomenon is called bolting, and it is triggered by a combination of heat and long days of direct sunlight. The plant reads those signals and decides it is time to reproduce rather than keep producing leaves. Once it bolts, it is done for you as a food crop. So what most gardeners do not realize is that by removing spinach from direct sun, you are removing the primary trigger that causes it to bolt. It is that straightforward. In a shaded environment, and we are talking zero direct sunlight here, not even dappled sun spinach slows down. It does not feel the urgency to flower. It stays in that vegetative, leaf-producing mode significantly longer. The leaves themselves become more succulent because the plant is not losing moisture to intense solar radiation, and the flavor stays sweet and clean, rather than developing the metallic edge that sun-stressed spinach often has. The variety I want you to write down right now is Bloomsdale Longstanding. That name matters. Longstanding means it has been specifically selected for its resistance to bolting, and in shade, that characteristic is amplified even further. It is suited to zones 3 through 9, which means it covers most of the country, and it produces thick, heavily savored, deeply dark green leaves that are genuinely more nutritious per square inch than the flat leaf spinach you see in the grocery store. If you want a smooth leaf, Space is another excellent option. It is compact, productive, and performs reliably in low. It's roughly 170,000 years ago. You're a human, barely recognizable as one, but still. You wake up, stretch, look around at the African savannah, and at absolutely no point do you think you know what would really complete this morning. Pants. And yet, here we are, billions of people every single morning putting on pants.
And yet, here we are.
Or whatever you call that thing that's technically pajamas, but you've been...
The show was on Rogers Cable. It got picked up by the Canadian Comedy Network, the Tom Green Show, right? And then MTV picked it up. And that's the biggest sort of
That's huge.
thing at the time. In 1999, it was when MTV was at its peak and everybody in the world saw the show. So if that had not happened, if the MTV had just not seen the show at the right time and picked it up at that time, I would have had to go out and get a real job, you know, so.
I don't know what to watch.
Welcome back, everybody, to Arlene is Alone. And today I'm alone with the one and the only Tom Green.
All right, that's cool.
It's very cool.
Thanks for having me. Beautiful place.
Thanks,
Wow,
thanks.
what an incredible loft here. Downtown Toronto. Can I say where we are?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. Don't want to blow up your location here, but you're in Toronto.
I'm in Toronto right now. Yes, I'm in Toronto right now. And I feel like I'm sitting with one of my hero idols, Tom, because you have been like, you honestly, I've watched you, like I'm older than you, but I have watched you for many, many years.
Okay.
And
Really? So, well, then I'm just happy to know that you've watched some of my stuff and you still invited me onto your show.
well, that took some talking into. Like somebody talked me into it. Said, "Oh, come on, have a lot." I said, "Oh, of course I'm gonna have one." No, and I mean, part of why you're here is because you're launching your new show, the Tom Green Farm.
Yes.
Tell me.
My old show used to be called the Tom Green Show. The show's called the Tom Green Farm, but we're basically bringing the show back as a talk show. But we're doing it from my farm where I live with my wife in Ontario, and it's a lot of fun. I'm kind of new to the farm. It'll be 5 years since July though, so it's not that new.
Hello.
I mean, you went from LA and that whole chaos of LA and the glam and all of the LA scene to.
Yes, I was very glamorous.
This is non-alcoholic wine.
Yeah.
You are.
Well, it became kind of a normal place to live for me. I was there for 21 years, so I mean, it sort of started becoming normal, but then it was never really felt like home. Even after 20 years, I'd be thinking sometimes, oh, this is weird. I'm in Los Angeles. It never seemed normal. Then when the pandemic happened, I just said, I think I want to move home to Canada. I miss Canada. I would always be in Canada, touring, doing stand-up, and I'd always be home a lot. But I just wanted to be here full time now. So.
And was that like, what was that transition like though, to go from what Hollywood is all about and to come to a farm life? That's got to be a big shift.
It's funny because I never really felt totally at home in Los Angeles. So actually, the second I moved to the farm back in Canada, I felt at home again.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like I realized this was the best decision, and I haven't looked back. And shortly after coming back to Canada, I met my wife, and
Oh.
All right. Thank you, Howard Anglin. Okay.
Hmm.
This clip comes from Ryan Garrettson. If you don't follow him on X, I
Okay.
think you should. He says, witness the average Canadian at the beginning of this clip. This is how uninformed they are. So let's watch.
But the drop in price coincides with concerning news. Canada is now in a technical recession. While financial experts debate exactly what that means for the economy, the public is simply alarmed by the word.
I did not hear that yet. I'm surprised. I thought we were doing better than the U.S. anyways. I would expect them to be in a recession.
But as most of us know, it is not just the price of gas that is stressing out consumers. It's the cost of other essentials, including mortgage, rent, car repair bills, and yes, groceries. Out shopping with her young son Fergus and her mother Kathy, Rachel Vass agreed the economy is teetering on the edge.
A little uncertain for sure, but I mean, we can only do what we can do, and everything is increasing as the world changes.
Her retired mother feels fortunate that she can help if finances become a challenge for the next generation. Some of her friends are already doing what they can to help their adult children cover the cost of housing.
That young people can't afford them these days. I mean, are they making enough money to actually afford a mortgage? And the cost of housing, I can't believe it. We were just so lucky when we bought when we did.
Mike Beard is grateful that disability insurance is keeping him housed, even though the extra remains a struggle. Still, he worries about the stresses of others.
I feel sorry for people, for attitude, money, the prices, spending a lot more what they used to.
Back at the gas pumps, Sean Smith is fueling up before resuming his search for a new job. He is taking the word recession in stride.
Not that worried about it just yet. I've seen many recessions.
John Irvin, CTV News.
The guy at the front, at the very beginning, when he's like, well, I thought the Americans were doing bad. Why did you think that? Why do you think they're doing poorly? Because you don't like Donald Trump and you think he would, because your feelings about him should dictate how well he is at his job? Is that what maybe you watch too much CBC and their American hate, or maybe you just got like your elbows way up and so you just are just anti-American, but the facts be damned. Just so you understand, Canada's economy is in a recession. It's receding. It's shrinking. The GDP in the United States grew by 1.6% in the first quarter of this year. And it had been growing faster. The spike in gas prices.
Members' statements? Yes, I recognize the member passes.
Madam Speaker, if you seek it, you will find unanimous consent for members to wear pins in the House in recognition of ALS.
Oh my gosh. I just can't believe the things they talk about in the legislatures. I know I try not to be political, and I shouldn't have watched this video right now, but it's like, oh, can we get permission to win? What? They're spending time on this? This is Manitoba? I can't even tell by looking at their channel what it is. Is it on, it's on Ontario? The Ontario legislature. Well, can we get a permission to wear a pin for LAS or whatever, ALS? It's like, I don't know. This society is like beyond my comprehension. There's so many people dedicated to like fighting for lives and making things better. And how did they do that today? How did they do that yesterday? How do they plan to do it tomorrow? I have no idea. But they want to wear a pin in the Ontario legislature. And they need to talk about that. And it's televised. We need to see this.
If you see a cuneiform tablet for the first time, you're not likely to identify it as writing, and you certainly wouldn't know which way up it.
He believed that that's what the ancient Sumerian text was
trying to describe.
In a glass case in the British Museum,
Interesting.
behind catalog number K.8538, sits a clay disc the size of your palm that scientists have been arguing about for 170 years.
Wow.
8 wedge-shaped segments. Star positions carved by an Assyrian scribe around 700 BCE. For most of that time, nobody could fully explain what they were looking at. Now they can, and the answer is not what anyone in mainstream archaeology was expecting. Because the sky on that tablet does not belong to the empire that made it, does not belong to the kingdom that copied it, and points to a single morning that should not be possible. The artifact that shouldn't exist. Picture this. You are walking through room 55 of the British Museum.
Sumerian tablets are probably one of the oldest form of the written record that we have.
The crowd thins out here. Most people are still back near the Rosetta Stone. You pass a quiet case with a small disc inside it. Catalog number K.8538. Roughly 14 centimeters across. Small enough to hold in one palm. One side carved into 8 wedge-shaped segments, like a pie chart pressed into wet clay nearly 3,000 years ago. You walk past it. Almost everybody walks past it. Here's the catch. It should not be there. Most cuneiform tablets from this era beg the gods for harvests. They beg for kings. They beg for favorable wars. They are religious documents, written by priests, copied by scribes.
Hey, Miriam.
Who believe the heavens to be
902, how are you?
This one does something completely different. It measures star position.
You did not understand the question. Okay, can strawberries and oatmeal with molasses be a dessert? So you have your oatmeal, you have strawberries in the oatmeal, you have the molasses, the oatmeal with the strawberries. Slava Belarus? What's that? What is that?
It logs them against known constellations. It records angular data of the kind a navigator would use. It gives rising and setting times to a level of precision that serves no ritual purpose at all. And buried inside several of those 8 segments are numerical sequences that describe not just where something is in the sky, but where it is going.
I guess I should stop eating.
According to the Sumerian text. At what angle? At what speed? It reads like an instrument log. It reads like a flight recorder pressed into mud. Sir Austin Henry Layard, born in 1817, pulled it out of the dust of Nineveh in the 1850s, knee-deep in trenches while local workers hauled tablets out of collapsed shelving by the thousand. Most went into wooden crates. Most were never read. But this one made it into the case in London.
Not too
Here's
bad.
where it gets strange. The clay itself dates to roughly 700.
I don't know if you can hear because it's kind of right by the thing there. Not too bad. I'm just eating my dessert. Oh, Ladodi 98 to S3. You're one of those guys, huh? I don't have a lot of strawberries in it though, because I don't know, I had a cup of strawberries and I feel so like I have it divided here. Like it's a divider. They both had oatmeal and molasses on both sides. And I put some strawberries in here and some strawberries in here, and it was like an actual cup of strawberries, and the strawberries were frozen. And so I think next time I'd put all the strawberries in this side or all the strawberries in this side. So that way it can like be like a strawberry with every bite. I should probably stop eating it now because I'm kind of full. And if I'm more hungry, I'll just have some later. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess that's everything. I'm doing a sleep stream tonight. I'll be having my blueberries and I'll have strawberries tonight. So yeah, thank you for joining. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for commenting, especially because it gives me something to work with. Thanks for answering this. Thanks for answering this poll here. This is fun. I'll have to do these polls more often. I don't know these options on here. A countdown. Okay, I'm gonna close this poll. Does that just? Can I save it? I guess not. Maybe I can do like a little thing. Sure, that works. Okay. So I'll delete that, and then I'll go to countdown. 10 seconds, I guess. Let's do 5. Okay. Yay! Have a good day. Bye.